better navigation.
I'm a lifelong Republican, and I voted for Trump twice, but I can't do it again. Trump wants a national sales tax on imported goods. It'll make everything more expensive for regular people, all while giving tax breaks to billionaires.
We're gonna give you tax cuts.
Kamala Harris is for regular people. She wants a tax cut for 100 million Americans, so we keep more of our hard-earned money. I'm a proud Republican, but this year, I'm voting for Kamala Harris.
FF package
Oh, yeah.
content of this app.
Now that you're eligible for Medicare, it's time to take advantage of everything Medicare has to offer, and much more with the Humana Medicare Advantage Plan. Humana has plans that can enhance your life in so many ways. It starts with peace of mind. Humana's Medicare Advantage plans offer $0 or low monthly plan premiums, and there's a cap on your out-of-pocket costs. These plans could even include coverage for the medications you take to feel your best every day, with $0 copays on hundreds of prescriptions. Most plans include dental, vision, even hearing coverage, so you can fully participate in the lives of the people you love. And plans have $0 copays for in-network preventive services, so you'll feel protected when you have a Humana
We gotta go.
Advantage plan. Call to see if there's a plan in your area. Just wait.
Alright, that was not good.
Annual enrollment for Medicare Advantage plans
Wow, I had to accelerate like hell there. It pulled out right in front of that truck.
A more human way to healthcare.
When Kamala came in, she deliberately dismantled our border when the gates just flew open. In jails, insane asylums, and mental institutions from all over the world, from Venezuela to the Congo in Africa. A lot of people coming out of the Congo, not just South America, they're coming from 181 countries as
That was
of
me.
yesterday.
I forced it
Right
through
at
this light
dumping
and this
ground.
one.
We're like a garbage can for the world. That's what's happened. That's what's happened, Joe. We're like a garbage can.
MAGA is like a garbage
You know,
can.
it's the first time I've ever said that.
Yeah,
And
you're
every
right,
time
Trump. MAGA's kind of like a
come up
garbage
and talk
can.
about what they've done to
You're a
people,
fucking
make it
dumping
angry
ground.
and angry. First
Fucking
time I've ever
lost
said
people who
garbage can,
don't
but you know what? It's a
know
very
to stand up for
accurate
this country. They're gonna get in
So
MAGA.
there it is, John.
The garbage.
You were talking about that
MAGA,
comment
the
at
big
top of
garbage
show,
can.
How in America, quote, a garbage can with 11 days to go until the election. Just the contrast you
Fuck
see.
me,
as
this is
someone
where
who's
garbage
written
pail
many
cans
beautiful
from
words
came
and
from.
told a lot of
You're
stories
pissed off about
over
that,
the
Trump?
course of your life.
Fucking
What do you
loser.
see when you watch the Harris rally contrasted with the Trump rally?
Well, the conventional politics from Jefferson forward, honestly, has been that the politics of optimism, the politics of hope, have tended to prevail, at least rhetorically, because democracies are human undertakings, and they're shaped by the tension between hope, which is about looking forward, and fear, which is about the anxiety created. It's an ancient definition, is the anxiety created by the anticipation of the loss of something you love. The anticipation and anxiety about the loss of something you love. And so the politics of fear is really powerful. But what has prevailed
No, we're not
until
going
now
there. We're gonna
has been ultimately a politics of hope.
God, I
Jefferson
fucking
talking
hate
about we're the
that
world's
you
best
can't
hope.
Report navigation bug.
We face a very clear choice. There is no mystery about what we're going to decide as right now and what's going to be rendered in 10 days. And it's that Vice President Harris would conduct a recognizable, coherent presidency.
Like, this is the way that I would always like to go when I have to go up to CTC. But for some reason, it always wants to route me going south. It's fucking stupid.
Is just so much worse.
And I have to manually take it out of autopilot because I want it to go stay on the road that I've been trying to stay on for the last 2 miles. It should be pretty effing obvious that I want to go straight here. So Tesla really needs to come up with a way that when you're going to a place that you've been to before, and if you really like staying on the road, stop your stupid frickin' Elon Musk backwards ass navigation and let the fucking people make their cars where they want them to go, not where dipshit Elon wants them to go. Anyway, rant mode off for a bit. See how it does with this construction. It's got to merge and then it's going to get right back on and get on the highway. Or are we going to do it, or are we just going to fucking run right into some traffic cones? No, we're going to turn signal. Better late than never. But you're going to know to get over here. You did. Good. Possum did good on that one. This is full self-drive 12.5.4.1, and we're getting ready to hop on the highway here for 10-mile trip up to the tech center, CTC, and then we will park for a couple hours and reminds me, I'm going to plug this in before it runs out of battery. After Possum merges.
January 6th, there's been, attempts on his own life. And, things have happened, but sometimes I'm surprised that there hasn't already.
Watch and cheer as other people do. And so there's some scary brown people in Times Square. I think there's some people that want to confront them. And you know what? We're going to let them confront them. There's going to be vigilante mob justice. If you want to go to the border and you want to shoot people crossing over, you think Donald Trump is going to be the person who's going to stop that? Oh no, Springfield has Haitians eating pets. I don't know who's gonna do something about that. I don't know. All these towns have been taken over by Guatemalans. Really seems like time for somebody to pick up a gun and do something about it. Like, this is not the only thing that makes a movement a fascist movement, but it's definitely a part of it. And it ties so well in with the increasing bloodlust that we've seen on the right over the last 10 years or so. They just want to see people they disagree with be pushed up against a wall and shot in the head. That is what they want, and Donald Trump is barely hiding any of it at this point. And look, maybe because the election is just 2 weeks away, I'm getting really worked up because I don't want to see a person like that in power once again, Trey, but I'm curious what you think about it. The fascist thing is not simply a, what ideology is he a part of? It informs so much of what happens on a day-to-day basis. But give me your thoughts.
Yeah, and I mean, they're open to it too, because a lot of these types of people that, you know, that we often call, you know, gravy seals and things of that nature, that are they idolize and worship, you know, guns and the military. Like, they fantasize all day, all the time about being like heroes on the front lines of some righteous battle or movement or something. They want to be like the Audie Murphy of shooting brown and trans people or something, or, you know, or just like hoping that one of these evil, gun-toting, drug-addicted immigrants I always hear about will, you know, show up in their town so they can give them what for and then be carried off on everybody else's shoulders. Like, they think about this stuff a lot. And so, like, he plays into it by suggesting that, you know, oh, that's coming, it's right around the corner. And it's scary for the rest of us because you know that they would, a lot of them would leap at the opportunity to do it. I mean, I'm kind of, obviously, you know, January 6th, and there's been, I mean, attempts on his own life, and, you know, things have happened, but sometimes I'm surprised that there hasn't already been more of it, unfortunately, because, I mean, yeah, it's definitely, he's pushing all the right buttons for all the wrong people, and it could get real ugly real fast. I mean, that's one of the things that I do still worry about, regardless of outcome of the election, is, you know, the response to it if it doesn't go their way. Because, I mean, yeah, I think that it doesn't go their way. It's definitely disconcerting, to say the least, and he knows what he's doing when he you know, when he pulls those particular strings. So it's scary.
And we know that he knows what he's doing because he's part of the movement that's implied that somehow it's Democratic rhetoric that has led to a series of Republicans trying to unalive him. So it's definitely something he's thinking about. And by the way, later on in the show, we're going to be talking about a guy who was shooting at Democratic buildings. And so I share your concern. Like, super scary if he wins. Also scary in a different way if he loses. And that's going to be a very tense, at least couple of months, maybe far longer. But we're going to take our first break of the hour. Much more to get to after this.
However you feel about whatever, as long as I mean, look, I'm kind of a superstitious sports fan type of person where I almost believe in jinxing things and stuff like that. Plus, also, I'll never forget, like in 2016, even though I had been, you know, telling people for months that, you know, Trump was a more serious factor than they were pretending he was, I still was openly stating that I did not think that he would win, you know, up until the very end. And then we all got punched in the mouth that night. So I'm still gun shy from all of that. Having said that, I'm not like, you know, I'm not quaking in fear every night or, you know, laying there unable to sleep. So I think I must feel at least somewhat cautiously optimistic. I think if you absolutely force me to say, I'm hopeful that, you know, that it will be okay.
Okay, so you lean very slightly towards Harris.
Yeah. Okay, yes, I mean, yeah, I do, kind of.
I'm going to write you down.
Yeah, I know, but again, I just don't. Okay. You know, I don't want to jinx anything. The whole thing will be my fault now.
It could be. By the way, I love that for you, it's not that your conscious thought leads to sleeplessness or whatever. For you, it's you take those like autonomic things and then derive from that
Yeah.
You think you're like a detective, kind of. You're using the clues of your body. I like that, actually, because the thing is, of course, we try to, like, you know, use as much information as we can consciously, but there's all sorts of other considerations that we're not consciously aware of, but hypothetically could be causing us anxiety that would lead to sleeplessness. So your tactic may actually access bandwidths of data that conscious thought can't. I like it.
Yes, I'm a real emotional thought leader. I'm on the bleeding edge of, you know, American psyche and things of that nature. No, I just feel like it's like I obviously think about and talk about this stuff all the time, so I'm aware of it all, and yet I'm not like actively always terrified. So I just feel like that you know, must mean something.
Yeah, I'm not
just an idiot, you know, a naive idiot. It could just be that too.
We can never rule out our own.
Yeah.
Anyway, I feel largely the same. I wrote down Anna's lock-in yesterday, I thought, and it's not here. So if anybody who's watching the bonus episode, feel free to tell me what it is that she said. But anyway, what I find interesting is all of the guests that have come on have, not super confidently, but they've all said Harris. And both of our show's producers say Trump. I just find that to be fascinating. Anyway, maybe we'll do a poll tomorrow on the show. Maybe we'll see. But anyway, we do have a lot to talk about on the show today. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Those of you who have already hit the like button, super helpful for the algorithm. Really appreciate it. We've got a lot to talk about. Get us your comments, your tweets, super chats. One of you might earn a Blue Apron gift card. Okay, I'll respond to some comments later. But anyway, with that said, why don't we jump into our first topic? Kamala Harris had her CNN town hall last night. Now, of course, it was supposed to be a debate with Donald Trump, their second debate. But because the first debate did not go well for him, he has been running as far away from her as fast as he can. He's hiding somewhere. And so she had to do a town hall instead. And a lot came up. But the big story of the week, I guess, is Trump's former chief of staff, John Kelly, Marine General, saying that Trump had praised Hitler and was a fascist to his core. Obviously, that came up, and here's what she had to say.
You've quoted General Milley calling Donald Trump a fascist. You yourself have not used that word to describe him. Let me ask you tonight, do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And I also believe that the people who know him best on this subject should be trusted.
So, look, I mean, a lot of people have thrown that word around about Donald Trump for some
civilians who were seeking shelter to strip down. They were moved into the courtyard. Some of them were released. Others have been taken away to detention. Their location currently unknown. The World Health Organization says it is deeply concerned about what is happening at this hospital. It has lost contact, it says, with hospital administrators. Israel's military says it is hunting for militants inside of that hospital and that it evacuated some patients before its forces went in. Jose.
Ralph Sanchez, thank you very much. Later today, Donald Trump is heading to Michigan to hold a rally. Tomorrow, Vice President Harris will be campaigning there as well. Michigan has the largest Arab American population in the nation, a key group of voters in an important battleground state. Nationally, a new poll by Arab News and YouGov found that Trump is leading the vice president 45 to 43% among Arab Americans. It's still well within the margin of error. Joining us now from Dearborn, Michigan, is State Representative Oliva Farhat, who represents part of Dearborn, which has one of the largest Arab and Muslim communities in the United States. Representative, thank you for being with us this morning. What are the main issues that you and your constituents care about when heading into this presidential election?
Look, by away.
Yeah, I had to encourage it through that
in the Middle
yellow
East. You walk down
a bit impatient.
Streets right here in Dearborn and knock on a door. Everyone will tell you how they're being impacted firsthand by this conflict, whether it's a loved one they've lost, whether it's property that's been destroyed, whether it's concern for how to get aid to their family that's trapped. And I had a councilman here in Dearborn who lost his first cousin and their 3 children. That's what's on his mind, is how does he help support his family overseas? How does he do his part to end the suffering that we're witnessing? And that's top of mind for voters across my district.
You know, it's so important to talk about that, because so many times in politics one thinks that it's all about semantics and it's about policy differences and even you know, a whole slew of things. But then there are moments when for the voter, what's happening in some part of the world has a direct impact on them in very real and visceral ways. How is this translated into the process, the democratic process in the United States, in your community?
Well, you know, I think that right now what my community is looking for is leadership that can recognize their suffering with humanity, that can dignify their experience. You know, we lost an American citizen in my district, Kamal Jawad, who died living humanitarian aid to his fellow Lebanese nationals there. That's as a result of Israeli airstrike. We've had to attend funerals week after week after week for folks who have lost loved ones. It's translating to real frustration right now for voters who are looking for leadership that's speaking clearly on the Middle East, that's speaking with dignity for their experience, and that can humanize it. You know, there have been some missteps, unfortunately, by the White House in recognizing this suffering over the past few months. And that's what my community is looking for right now. That's what this district is looking for. It's leadership that can speak to this suffering in a way that has humanity, compassion, and without qualifier. That's very important, without qualifier. Because the suffering and the killing of innocents is reprehensible, period, full stop. And we should be able to have a government that can recognize that and hold perpetrators of some of the worst civilian casualties and the worst genocide that we've seen in a long time accountable. And that's what my constituency, and that's what this Arab American voting bloc is looking for.
So what is your specific message to the Harris campaign and to the Trump campaign as well? You want clarity. What exactly is your message to each one of these campaigns?
Yeah, I think, you know, they both sent some serious surrogates down to my district. You know, we had Senator Lindsey Graham, who was in Melvindale just 2 days ago. We had Congressman Ro Khanna coming through on behalf of Kamala Harris. You know, what I look for, and what my district is looking for, is when you speak to the suffering, and when you speak to the loss of life of innocent human civilians, you speak about qualifier. And I think, you know, we've seen Vice President Harris call for a ceasefire. We've seen her do much stronger rhetoric than we've seen this current administration. But it's with qualifier. We'd see it without qualifier. You know, for many folks in my district, we felt like the 120,000 innocent civilians was enough reason for there to be a ceasefire. We felt that the killing of thousands in South Lebanon was enough for a ceasefire. Right now, we're looking for that clear vision, and the fact that Arab Americans will have a seat at the table come 2025 and come the next administration that comes in.
State Representative Alavas Farhat, I thank you very much for being with us today. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Up next, it's a story that gripped the nation more than 30 years ago, how Eric and Lyle Menendez, who were sentenced to life in prison without parole for killing their parents, could soon go free. Plus a new conversation with Miami voters I first spoke to 6 months ago, what they think is going to happen November 5th, now that the race is very different.
It's a toss-up. I'm not sure.
It's not an easy choice, you know, because America's so divided, unfortunately.
Molly leaving was one thing, but then I thought Mom's weak bones might keep us stuck on the couch. No way. If you have postmenopausal osteoporosis and are at high risk for fracture, you can do more than just slow bone loss. You can build new bone in just 12 months with Evenity. Evenity is proven to reduce spine fracture risk by 73%.
I heard her say the Evenity she's taking builds new bone. Builds new bone!
Evenity can increase risk of heart attack, stroke, or death from a cardiovascular problem. Do not take Evenity if you have low blood calcium or are allergic to it. Serious allergic reactions and low blood calcium have occurred. Tell your doctor about jawbone problems, as they have been reported with Evenity, or about pain in your hip, groin, or thigh, as unusual thigh bone fractures have occurred.
Building new bone? We dig it.
Want stronger bones? Ask your doctor about building new bone with Evenity.
It's payback time. All these years you worked hard, you fixed it,
for obvious reasons. We all know that it's going to lead to massive inflation and a global economic crisis. But anyway, Jake, both options are total garbage when it comes to this issue. Total garbage.
So Netanyahu and the right wing in Israel has made it very clear they want Donald Trump. And so if you're thinking, oh, Kamala Harris is bad on this issue, you're 100% right. But if you think Trump is better, you're 100% wrong. He's promising 1,000 times over that he's going to be worse on this issue. And by the way, if you're a right winger or you're anti-war, your candidate isn't. So I know you're never going to believe that until he makes you pay for all of Israel's wars and he starts sending in troops there to help Israel because his donors told him to. But that's his current position. So has anybody asked Donald Trump, will you cut funding to Israel? Because you keep saying you're going to cut funding to Ukraine, and because, oh, America first. So are you going to cut funding to Israel? The answer is absolutely not. He'll probably send them more money. So yeah, we're damned if we do, damned if we don't. But I want to go back to Anderson Cooper's framing, right? So when we're on this topic, he says, so wait a minute. Are you saying that Donald Trump is more pro-Israel? Who's more pro-Israel? Wait a minute. What do you mean pro-Israel? That doesn't make any sense. If you opposed America's war against Iraq, that didn't mean you were anti-American. And if you supported it, didn't mean you were pro-American. You were agreeing or disagreeing with the policy of the current government of America. Same thing in Israel. It's not, if you're questioning what Israel's doing, it doesn't mean you hate Israel or you want to destroy Israel. What it means is, hey, I wanted Israel to be a safe and beautiful place, but I'm not in favor of the right-wing government that is driving Israel off a cliff right now. My position is more pro-Israel than any of their positions, because I would get Israel back on the right track, 2 independent states, so you could finally rest easy. Peace deal work with Egypt, it could work with the Palestinians, etc. So this framing of being pro-war, being pro-Israel, is corporate media cheerleading for war while pretending that they're helping an ally. And so look, at the end of the day, her answer was horrific. But people criticize her, saying she wasn't sufficiently ass-kissing enough of Israel. So our system is just sick. And then you turn, oh, well, do I have an alternative? You turn to Trump, and you say, why haven't we started a war already? Let's bomb Iraq. Come on, let's bomb them. By the way, I'm anti-war. MAGA, this is your guy. Come get your boy.
All right. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about Bill Maher's theory as to why Kamala Harris is not performing as well as she did in the very beginning of her, replacing Biden in this race. He has an interesting theory that I initially rejected, but I have a point. I'll be right back.
TYT, Jen and Casper here. Gifting with us, Jesse and Box all gifted 5 memberships on YouTube because they're American heroes. We know it, you know it, the American people know it. Box then chipped in and said, my cat's name is Casper, the friendly white cat. Okay, so there's 2 Caspers in the building. Screen says, Jenk trying to look fierce. He's just such a teddy bear.
He is, actually.
Me?
Yeah, you
No,
are.
I'm aggressive.
All of your aggression comes out on the show, but total cream puff.
All right, let's see. All right, what's next?
Okay, so this was a fascinating exchange that I disagreed with at first, but then I thought about it, and I'm curious what you all think. Let's get to it.
Kamala's big, I think, challenge here to win over the undecided voters is to convince them that she's not part of what they suspect she might be, sort of a stealth version of the worst excesses of the left.
Bill Maher believes that Kamala Harris has a woke problem, and that is the main reason why she is currently paralyzed in the polling. That is the main reason why Donald Trump has been able to close her lead nationally, according to the polls. Let's hear him out. What exactly is he citing here as the reason for her so-called woke problem?
There's a coalition of Trump voters, people who really like him. They certainly are those. And then there's people who don't necessarily like him that much, but they still think he's less crazy than stuff that strikes them as aggressively anti-common sense. Right. That takes place on the left. Right. So that's why they keep running that ad about sex changes in prison. You know, like could you,
every football game.
Could you get every football game? Could you get more third rail words into one sentence? Sex
prisoner, sex change operation, taxpayers funded. It rings every single bell.
They just want her to say, look, I get this about the blue team, and it's on my to-do list.
By the way, it's very easy to say, yeah, I said that in 2019. I was in a competitive thing. Now, she did say, I think she said this was the law under Trump, too. He didn't change it. But it's very easy to say, I don't believe that anymore.
So Scarborough, by the way, is absolutely correct. I don't say that often on this show, but he is correct in that it was the policy or the law when Donald Trump was in office. He didn't make any effort to change it, and now he is basically spending tens of millions of dollars running campaign ads targeting Kamala Harris for her questionnaire answer toward the ACLU when she was running in the Democratic primary in 2020. They asked her if she supported the policy, and she said that she did. And so now he's using that against her. And, you know, you can call him out for never doing anything about the policy, but the fact remains that it does appear that to some extent, his attack against her is making some difference. So I want to just quickly go into how much money is being spent on this. Let's go to graphic 2 here. Over the first half of October, former President Donald Trump and his allies poured more than $21 million into television ads attacking Vice President Kamala Harris over her past support of certain rights for transgender people, a message they have spread during nationally televised NFL games, college football broadcasts, and in battleground states. So the Trump campaign is betting any voters still choosing between the 2 candidates will be swayed by this issue. In fact, the ads outpaced nearly every other topic Republicans have put in advertisements trying to sway the public during a critical closing stretch of the race, ahead of crime, inflation, and immigration, and behind only taxation. And I want to go to the ad so you guys know what we're talking about. I actually had never seen the ad. I don't think it's targeted toward people in California, maybe. But this is what the ad is.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners, every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
It's hard to believe, but it's true. Even the liberal media was shocked Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners and illegal aliens.
Every transgender inmate would have access.
Kamala's for they, them. President Trump is for you.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
So not only is the Trump campaign banking on this ad being effective and making a difference with swing voters, It's essentially what Bill Maher believes is going to work or make a difference as well. And I'm curious what you think, Cenk.
Yeah, so there's two very different parts of this story. So first, on the issue of are these ads working and is this the right way to go for the Republicans, Democrats, etc.? That I agree with Bill Maher and Joe Scarborough on, and yes, I just vomited a little bit in my mouth. But guys, we told you, and we got into huge fights on the left over this, that it was not going to play well. And a lot of people on the left claim, no,